Hello everybody, my name is Alex Shrednozak and I'm a film critic at FilmBook. Today I'll be reviewing the 2020 thriller Alone. Alone was written by Matthias Olsson and directed by John Hyams. The film stars Jules Willcox and Mark Menchaca. Alone is a very basic cat and mouse movie. The film is about a widow who basically packs up all of her things and moves away. During her travels, she runs into a strange man who basically follows her everywhere she goes. Eventually, she ends up getting kidnapped and does everything in her power to try to escape. We're going to make this a quick review. This is definitely one of the smaller releases that has come out in 2020. I hadn't heard of this movie until it was passed along my way. It's definitely a tense little thriller. Like I said before, it's got that basic cat and mouse-esque premise. A girl is being hunted by a serial killer through the Pacific Northwest. Which, really strange fact, I feel like I've been reviewing a lot of movies that take place in the Pacific Northwest. I don't know if that's coincidental or not, but it just feels like it's been happening a lot. The two leads in this movie are solid. It really just focuses on the two characters. There's some other smaller characters who appear throughout the movie. I don't really want to talk about them because then we start getting into spoiler territory a little bit. But just know that this is obviously a very, very small budgeted movie as it's mainly focused on the main two actors. I would describe this movie as a pretty good one and doneer. It's not really something that you're going to watch frequently. I'm not really sure when this movie's supposed to come out. I think that it might have a theatrical release soon. I definitely think it'll be out on some sort of video on demand platform. So this is definitely a cool little movie if you're just trying to find something to watch during the week or when you're with your spouse or significant other on the weekend. Few issues I have with this movie. It's not very memorable. It doesn't try to do anything too inventive or anything like that. It's just everything that it does pretty well for the most part. I had a lot of trouble empathizing with the main character of this movie. They definitely kept the basics of all the information that the viewer needs to know very minimal. So we pretty much just know that she's a widower, and honestly there's not much else to know about her besides that. And I kind of find that to be a major flaw because the only real way that we empathize with her is that she's just being hunted by this psychopath. I don't know, maybe it's just me, but it's just not really enough for me to get invested in a character. But if you don't really care about that and you can look beyond it, there's definitely a lot of very cool scenes. I mean, the Pacific Northwest is always very pretty to look at on film. This movie definitely likes to use a lot of drone shots to show overheads of trees and other things like that. So it's certainly very pretty to look at. And I would say the climax scene of this movie is done very, very well. It's very exciting and very satisfying. But I will say the very end of this movie is just kind of abrupt. Like, I'm not going to go much into details with that, but I feel like a lot of people are going to have problems with the way that this movie ends. Like, it's definitely a satisfying ending, but also not at the same time. I don't really know how else to describe it because if I do, I'd pretty much have to give the ending away for it to make sense. Like I said before, this movie's nothing new. It's definitely tense. It's pretty to look at. I do have problems with the main character. The killer in this movie is pretty good. So I guess from what I described, if that's something that you're into, then you're probably going to like this movie. But for me, I'm going to give Alone a 7 out of 10. It's a good movie. I wouldn't describe it as great or anything like that. It definitely has a lot of high critical reviews, but I also saw that a lot of the audience scores are pretty low. So I don't know. Take that with a grain of salt. Like I said, this isn't a movie that you're going to watch over and over again. It's just a cool little movie to be one and done with. And that brings us to the conclusion of my review for Alone. I'd like to thank you all for watching. You can see more of my reviews on the FilmBook website. That's film-book.com. Just search for Alex Shrednozak. You can also see other videos and reviews I've done on my YouTube channel, link in the description. Also be sure to hit the like button, subscribe to our channel, and hit the bell icon so that way you're notified as soon as new reviews are published. If you agreed or disagreed with my review, definitely leave me a comment down in the comment section below. Please also consider becoming a member on our Patreon, link also in the description. Your support helps us create more engaging content. Thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you on the next one. Later.